Hello and welcome to Arts Alive Film. My name's Tony Lindsay,
Oh, and my name's Tony Lloyd.
and this week we take a second visit to Eelmarsh House with Woman in Black 2 before discovering the theory of everything with Eddie Romaine.
Also, Birdman, Michael Keaton.
A fantastic supersonic film. But talking to
I have to
supersonic,
interrupt you. Let's go.
let's
We've
go.
got lots to go through.
Lots to get through. See you later. Okay, starting off with the theory of everything. What do you think, Toe?
Brilliant. Story of Stephen Hawking. Well, his early life when he met his first wife,
Jane.
Jane.
Two standout performances by Eddie Redmayne
Absolutely.
and Felicity Jones as the couple. First rate. We can understand why they're up for the Oscar nods. I mean, it shows, doesn't it? First
Absolutely.
class.
There's a couple of scenes where the emotion is palpable as this. Really, it's fantastic.
Well, there's one towards the end there where the relationship reaches a certain point where I think it had us both nearly in tears. It was played to perfection. Absolutely brilliant.
It's an old-fashioned film. It's you've got the classic college days, halcyon days, and of course you've got Hawking then.
Making his discoveries,
knowing that he's brilliant, his brilliance is starting to shine. Yeah. But then the undercurrent.
Then of course
is
you got the
illness.
motor neuron disease kicks in, and it gets steadily worse. He's told he only has 2 years to live, and after that, it's basically the human spirit.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, it's everything to me that Unbroken wasn't.
Absolutely.
This is about the human spirit and to what lengths we can go in achieving greatness. And Stephen Hawking is obviously a prime example of that.
And it's also about how fragile a human spirit is, as well, isn't it? Because, Jane takes on, she loves him, his wife, and despite what was going to happen, the initial 2-year lifespan, she still embraces it. But it's that continual. Not only is she living with someone who's severely ill, she's living with someone who's becoming a massive celebrity.
Yes, indeed. And there are outside influences as well. Jonathan, the family friend who later becomes Jane's lover. But no, working title at its best.
Yeah, working title at its best.
James Marsh directs the actors brilliantly. Based on Jane's own book, Into Infinity, My Life with Stephen.
And she had a little, after they'd gone to the palace, she revised the book to include those bits, and she looked back a bit more and could add a bit more. And maybe I think that shows in,
indeed.
in
The
final
screenplay's by Anthony McCartan, and again, does a wonderful job. But a really good night out at the pictures.
Absolutely. If you want emotion, this is the place to go.
It has been a great joy to watch this man defy every expectation, both scientific and personal.
There should be no boundary to human endeavor. However bad life may seem, while there is life, there is hope.
Thank you.
Sorry, did you say something?
I said thank you.
Okay, The Woman in Black 2, The Angel of Death.
I know. What can we say? What could we possibly say?
Well, it's Hammer. Let's start with the positives. It's Hammer back on the big screen. Both big Hammer fans.
Absolutely.
Days of Cushion and Lee.
Seeing that logo, massive, was
fabulous. Of course, it's a sequel to Woman in Black, obviously, the Daniel Radcliffe classic. This one's not as strong, let's say that. It's shot almost
through someone's sock. It
someone's
looks like.
sock, yeah.
It is so, the image, and this is nothing against where it was projected here at the Odeon. The actual finished image is incredibly dark. I couldn't believe it at some points.
Like the contrast to being
had to be ramped up.
Yeah.
And I understand they were going for atmosphere,
Gothic
atmosphere, but not really. It didn't really work for me. So that hindered it really. I know they were going for a claustrophobic feel.
I think we'd have to ask George Steele what he was doing.
What he was thinking.
And that.
Absolutely.
But okay, so the story goes, it's 40 years after the first one.
Second World War.
Second World War. We've got a busload of children who've been evacuated to Eelmarsh House, site of all the evil doings in the first one, of course. And the woman in black is still around, or as the poster tells us, she never forgives, she never forgets.
But she's never around much.
She just makes about 1 or 2 appearances in this film, and that's about it. Phoebe Fox does it best. Helen McClory.
She's brilliant as the headmistress.
James Irvin is the male lead, the RAF pilot.
But there's just too many loose ends. There's no real conviction in the story. You've got children in jeopardy, which is never easy to watch.
And a lot of
plays it safe.
And a lot of jump shocks.
Yeah.
Blah blah.
Boo shocks. We call them.
Boo shocks, but no genuine moody threat.
And at one point, one of the main, won't tell you that, but one of the main characters looks into the face of the woman in black, and we all know what that surely means, and yet
it's not followed.
It's never followed up.
Yeah.
I was very, very disappointed after loving Susan Hill's book, after loving, well, even on the theatre, we both saw it on the theatre.
Yeah, this is Susan Hill's story, but it's been adapted, I should say, by John Croker.
Yeah.
But Susan did put up the story for this. So, bit of a disappointment, to be honest with you.
I mean, if you really, love the idea, you love the woman, she's a great idea, great malevolent force, but be prepared, it won't be, I don't think it's going to be the big fright fest that you might believe.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is Michael Keaton's Birdman.
Or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance.
Brilliant. What did we think?
Absolutely brilliant. Again, one of the biggest Oscar contenders for this year, and you can see why from shot one. Absolutely brilliantly shot by, excuse me folks while I get this right, Emanuel Lubetsky. Now, Emanuel Lubetsky shot Gravity last year, and there are a lot of similarities between that picture and this.
Yeah.
The long shots,
yes.
the seamless editing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely perfection.
But it's the stellar cast, isn't it? What a cast.
Yeah.
It's the actors, audience actors film, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got, as well as Michael Keaton in there taking lead duties, you've got Ed Norton. As his nemesis almost.
Absolutely.
A method actor playing a method actor. You can't say more than that. You've got Naomi Watts.
Doing another sort of career-changing role.
Yeah.
We saw her in St. Vincent.
A couple of weeks back.
Playing the Russian.
We got Emma Stone playing a blinder as his daughter just out of rehab.
Yeah.
And the relationship between the two of them is something to behold. Fantastic. And we've got our own Andrea Riseborough playing Keaton's lover, who may or may not be pregnant. So there's another problem he's got to work out. What does this film deal with? Well,
it deals with everything, doesn't it? It deals with ego. It deals with art versus commerciality. And if you do choose one route, usually the commercial route, is there ever a way back?
Yeah, absolutely. Family, relationships.
Yeah.
A breakdown. Keaton's going through a breakdown, or is he? It's all in there. It's all infused in this magical cocktail.
What's gorgeous about it, isn't it, is it feeds on itself. It's actors, self-referential, great acting, but you know it's a showcase for the actors.
Yeah, indeed.
As well as that's what they're doing.
Nobody gets out of this alive.
No.
Superhero movies. Michael Keaton's own character is there's a mirror thrown up into Michael Keaton of Batman, Birdman.
I think he references the date of his last Batman film.
That's right,
he tells the reporters.
Indeed, yeah.
It's a black comedy.
Superb.
But it's brilliant.
Well directed again by excuse me once again, folks. It is Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, I think. Pardon my pronunciation there, but yeah, well worth the visit to see this film.
Yeah, if you want a challenging bit of cinema with some scorching performances, this is the one to see.
Whew. Well, that's it for part one. What have we got for part two, Tony?
Well, what we've got for part two, we're going to be talking to two writers from Crosby, Emma Vaudry and David Moorhead, and we'll be doing our normal roundup of DVD reviews.
Excellent. See you then. And welcome back, part 2. What have you got for them now, Tim?
Well, this week we spoke to local screenwriters Emma Vaudry and David Moorhead.
So, Emma, David, tell us something about yourselves.
Well, we've been writing together now for about 5.5 years. We've written a variety of different projects, screenplays, a film and some short films. Also, at the moment,
we're working on a play. We're hoping to put that on in Liverpool in the summer.
So tell us a little bit about your current projects.
There's one that we were involved in which is called Sweet Meat, which has just recently been shown at the Wirral Film Festival. That's the only short film. All the other projects are actually more than an hour long, aren't they?
We
The
wrote
screenplays.
A sort of drama called Vampire Zoo, which was obviously it's more science fiction. The BBC gave us lots of really good feedback on that, and we did a trailer, and we got 14,000 hits on YouTube.
Of course, when the tides turn, we'll spare and remember those who've helped us.
Let us pray.
I believe you've had some real success with the BBC Writers' Room on this, haven't you?
Yes, they really liked it. We went to the top 6% that they looked at, and they gave us really good feedback. They liked the characters, they liked the development, they liked the plot. It's just they couldn't go with it because at the time they were also going with a zombie drama.
So tell us a little bit about Boxroom Babies.
Right, Boxroom Babies, the title is about people who have never left home or have had to return home because of the economic climate we're living in, and how they adjust, that they don't have their own home. And one is a failed businessman, Oliver, and another is Alison, who is a widow, and she's returned with her daughter to live with her parents just to make ends meet. And obviously their lives haven't turned out the way they want, and they find an escape, a release in a drama, an Amish dramatic society. But the tone of the piece is really uplifting and bright.
What do you think? I always said when I retire I'm going to start doing things for myself.
Yeah, and where the hell am I supposed to sleep?
In the box room.
Bloody hell, Dad.
Look, you've been away for 15 years, you didn't expect me to keep things as it was, did you? And by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt your voyage of self-pity, but that was your lad on the phone. I told him that you'd ring as soon as you've unpacked.
Look, I can't let him see me here.
Now look, Ollie, this is about facing your failures. He's your lad. He needs you. You're his dad.
And we obviously know a lot of people in the industry. I'm an actress myself, so got lots of friends in the film business. So yeah, we've called in a few favours, and luckily enough, we've been able to get 2 trailers done so far, and we were actually able to get some names into that as well. John Henshaw and Andrew Lancel really liked the script, wanted to be involved, and they came and gave their time for free for us and filmed, which was fantastic. Yeah, but I do, I really enjoy writing and the creative process. I think we have a really good relationship, and we're good at doing the investigation behind any themes that we're looking into, and I think we both really enjoy that.
Yeah,
don't we?
Yeah.
Both Geminis as well, you see. So
well, that helps.
No, because I can come up with some plot ideas, and Emma's also very good with the dialogue, so we sort of match each other's.
I think being an actress and being used to scripts obviously helps, you know, because I tend to read everything aloud when I'm writing and editing. So
that must be great to do table readings when you're actually writing the thing.
Yeah.
Emma, David, thank you very much.
Absolutely, thank you.
And what a nice couple they were too, eh, Tom?
Just like us.
Moving swiftly on to our DVD reviews. First up is Deliverance from Evil, directed by Scott Derrickson.
Who done one I like there, the Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Indeed, yeah, very.
And also Sinister with Ethan Hawke. I thought that was good.
Now the Exorcism of who did you say it was?
Emily Rose.
Emily Rose. Now that was based on fact, as this one purports to be. It's actually based on the book by cop Ralph Sarchi, who Eric Bana essays in this film, and he was a kind of demonologist. But unfortunately, what they've done is they've only based the film on his exploits. So the story they tell in this particular film is not a true story.
Which is bizarre, really, because the real policeman was he sat in on many exorcisms.
He did indeed.
But they've used it in a broad way, haven't they?
He teams up with Edgar Ramirez as Mendoza, a priest and exorcist, and they're chasing after this war vet.
A war veteran who in combat wanders into this catacomb and sees these hieroglyphics.
But it's done. There's kind of shades of Seven in there.
Well, yeah, the production design is they're trying to make it as cockroach infested, as grungy, as wet and rainy and dank. But there's one particular exceptional sequence in the zoo which I thought the rest of the film struggled to catch up with.
I think what it is, it's one tone. Eric Bana doesn't get to examine his character in any way. It's all done on the one level, and it doesn't. There's no humour to level the horror or the drama.
It's like with a lot of these movies. The atmosphere is fantastic, but when it comes to contact and joining up with characters, it's a little bit in the deficit there, isn't it?
Which brings us to our second DVD, The Rover. Now, this is an Australian piece. Guy Pearce and Robert Pattinson. Pattinson moving further and further away from his Twilight.
Absolutely,
character.
And a good journey as well.
It's brilliant. This is reminiscent to those new wave Australian films of the 70s. It's set in a dystopian Australia, 10 years after an economic collapse. And we have Guy Pearce and Robert Pattinson on the trail.
As the tough stranger.
The tough stranger. This is a modern Western, isn't it? It's a contemporary Western.
Yeah.
They're on the trail of Scoot McNairy, and it's there's flashes of violence, etc. But it is also a gritty character piece.
It's almost like a thinking person's Mad Max. It's a completely different vibe to that, but the wastelands are there.
Yeah, Natasha Bray's cinematography is one of the stars of this piece.
But it's a good mood piece.
Yeah, the two leads do it justice.
And they're tough, and yet there's tenderness in there as well, and a great little twist.
The last shot,
which we can't say.
Absolutely, yeah, the twist. It's great. It's well worth seeing.
Definitely worth your rental costs, or actually go out and buy it.
Clear. Well, folks, that's it for this edition of Arts Alive Film. Next week, we talk all things Taken with this guy.
Oh,
competition. Don't forget now, closing date is January the 16th. Here's the address. Question: what is the name of the snowman character in Disney's Frozen? You got that? Okay. We have to get some oxygen.
2 bottles.
See you next week. Hello there, this is... Right, start again. That's it for part 2. What have we got for part 1? Sorry, go again. That's it for... And welcome back to part 2. What have you got on... Okay, and welcome back to part 2.
I made a funny note. Sorry. Sorry, go on.
What have you got in store for them now, Tom?
Well, earlier, it was actually last year. No, it wasn't. Who the whatever it was, I did it.
Okay. Next week.